True Chaz by Crazy Cat Mass Murderer. I do not usually do this, but this has traumatized me for a while, so I'm gonna get it out of my system. When I was 16 years old, I lived in rural area in England in a small village, if you could call it that, as it was nothing more than a bunch of houses with a small store. The closest school was the next town over, and that was half an hour away, so every morning I would have to get up at 6 a.m. to catch the bus, and yes, it sucked. But it was not all bad because of the two other kids who lived there who were close to my age, Connor and Courtney. Names have been changed. Courtney was the year below me, and Connor was in my class. We got the bus together every morning, and over the weekends and holidays, we would hang out together at each other's houses or loiter around the shop until we got kicked out. Anyway, at the time I had a cat which I had gotten for my 15th birthday. His name was King because he looked like a king. He was a huge white cat with green eyes and an attitude. I loved that cat so much so when he went missing, it fucked me up pretty good. I spent weeks crying my eyes out waiting for him to come home, but he never did. Soon it began going around that a lot of the neighbors' cats had been disappearing as well. None of them had been found on the roads, so people assumed that a fox had got them. It was the weekend and me, Connor and Courtney had decided that we were bored of hanging around Courtney's. So we decided to go exploring, which meant that we would walk along the back roads until we were completely lost, and then try and find our way back. It was stupid but fun. Anyway, we were going up a back road we had never been up before, when we came across a pathway leading off the road. It was unkempt, and looked like nobody had used it for years. We went down the path excited to see where it led, and we were even more excited when we found an old rundown house at the end of it. The door was open and barely standing. Connor carefully moved it aside, and we went in. The smell was putrid, and I'm pretty sure I retched a little. Everything was filthy and falling apart. Just being there gave me a weird sick feeling in my stomach. Something did not feel right. Courtney must have felt it too because she immediately began complaining that we should leave. I would have left if I had not been trying to impress Connor, who at the time I had a huge crush on, so instead of agreeing with her, Connor and I called her a pussy and teased her until she agreed to come with us through the rest of the house. We went through the what looked to be the living room. It was covered in dirt and piles of trash. The smell got worse. As we made it to the bottom of the stairs, Courtney made it clear that she did not want to go up there, but when we told her to wait for us there, she made it even clearer that she did not want to do that either, so we all went up together, Courtney clinging to my arm, and me clinging to Connor, who went up first. At the top of the stairs, there was a corridor with about 3 rooms. It was just as filthy as downstairs, and the smell was 10 times worse. We piled into the first room. We came to pushing Connor in first, only for him to freeze. I looked over his shoulder and nearly puked. The room was full of decomposing bodies of what looked to be cats, all piled up against a wall. The stench was horrendous. I heard Connor whisper "oh shit" under his breath, and I guess Courtney, who was outside the room, heard too because she loudly began asking what it was. But before I could tell her to shut up, from the corner of the room came something flying through the air. It hit Connor straight in the chest and fell to the floor. It was a decaying cat corpse, and it was followed by a deranged scream of "get out." And from out of the same corner stumbled a filthy old man. He began to stagger towards us. We immediately got the hell out of there, and I do not remember much about it other than me and Courtney screaming out heads off, and me tripping over one of the door frames on our way out. We ran until we couldn't run anymore. Luckily we remembered our way back, but it took us at least 30 minutes to get back home, and in that time we speed walked as fast as we could, jumping at every sound and of course on my part, crying as I repeatedly asked him if he thought my cat was in there. Connor just kept replying that he did not know and asking me if I thought the man had followed us. We finally made it back and ran to the closest house, which one of us lived in with was Courtney's. We hurriedly explained what happened, and Courtney's mom called my mother, Connor's mother, and then the police, who came by a couple of hours later and took statements. Connor told me that they came back a few days later and said that the cats were there, but there was no sign of the man. When I was visiting my mother earlier this month, my boyfriend and I went to check out the house, but it had been knocked down. I have no idea what that man was doing there that day. or if he had killed all the cats, but I have a feeling that my cat was somewhere within those corpses, and it still makes me sick to his day. There are some messed up people out there. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button to support my work. And as always, enjoy the fear, my dear.